Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the NoDQ review number 276. I am the moderator, Virtue, being joined by this week's elite panel of the NoDQ review. Of course, Aaron Rift is here. Mike is in the house, the reliable one, Walter Cruz, and as always, happy to be here, Big Baller G. Gentlemen, what's going on? We're on the road to WrestleMania. Big G, what's up?
Nothing much. Off on this Tuesday night to be here on the review, making my special appearance. Surprise, surprise! I haven't watched AEW in the past 2 or 3 weeks, but I did watch the pay-per-view because my buddies didn't stop bothering me about ordering it, so they chipped in, and I watched it. And we'll talk more about that, but let's get this ball rolling, baby.
All right, get that ball rolling down the hill. Walter Cruz, what's going up?
Nothing much. Yeah, I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm ready to talk about this. There's a lot to talk about. So we got some good topics, and there's 5 of us. So let's just go before it goes over 2 hours.
Mike, what's up? Did you make it home from work in time today?
Yeah, nobody ever sent me the list though, so I'm going off the cuff here on everything, but I'm totally capable of doing it. So
I'll make sure I'll set you up each time, so you'll have a second to think about it before you go. So we're all good. These are easy topics.
Hey,
all right, Mike, stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right, Aaron, what's going on?
I'm doing well, and we already have a good turnout in the chat room tonight. This could be a really fun NoDQ review. I like the topics tonight. AEW Revolution is in the record books. Sting is officially retired from professional wrestling. We're going to be talking about that. We are going to be giving our thoughts on Sting's retirement. Also, the Darby Allin spot with the broken glass. We will be discussing that. We have the latest from the Bloodline and Cody Rhodes, the match for WrestleMania that appears to be set up for night 1 going into night 2. We have a lot to talk about, Virtue. You're the moderator, so I'll throw it over to you now.
See what he did right there, Mike? He had to kind of get that out there so you can kind of have an idea where I was going to make you wait. But anyways, the first topic, this is pretty easy, Mike, but I won't start with you. I'll start with Big G. Big G likes to go first sometimes, so he doesn't reiterate everybody else's thoughts. But Paul Heyman will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year. Of course, it's in Philadelphia, so how apropos that the home of ECW is where Paul Heyman, the wise man, will get inducted into the Hall of Fame. So what's everybody's thoughts on this? Perfect scenario, perfect setting. He's going to be by Rock and Roman's side night 1. He'll be by Roman's side night 2. He's going to be all over the place that weekend. And Big G, thoughts here? Obviously, he was promoter, he was manager, advocate.
I mean,
I guess you could say owner, right? Promoter, owner of ECW.
I mean, good for Paul.
Writer, booker, have at it. Hall of Fame.
I mean, good for Paul Heyman. You know, it's about time. Yeah, you know, it's in Philadelphia, home of ECW. You know, it had. You couldn't think of anybody more better than Paul Heyman to be the headliner for the Hall of Fame. You know, like he started out as a photographer back in the day, and then eventually worked his way up at WCW as Paul E. Dangerously with a Dangerous Alliance and Stone Cold or Steve Austin and all them. Working his way to ECW, becoming the owner of ECW. You know, like I said before, I really didn't watch ECW back in the day, but thanks to the network and stuff like that, you can go back and watch it. And then, you know, eventually WWE, you know, he was the general manager of SmackDown. He was the head writer of SmackDown. He's been, you know, advocate, wise man to many, many people, you know, Lesnar, CM Punk, Big Show, Kurt Angle. So he's been around in the business. He did, you know, commentary back in 2001 with JR. So he's been around the business for a very, very long time, and you know, it's well deserved. And now this legendary run with Roman Reigns for over 3 years now, you know,
and counting,
you know, and you know, I want to say he's one of the best managers since, Bobby the Brain Heenan and stuff like that. He's great on the mic. You can't take that away from him. He takes his bumps here and there when needed, and that crowd's gonna be super hot. You're gonna hear the loudest EC F and W chants. In the Lincoln Financial Field on Saturday.
And Big G, I'm thinking how they're making this weekend for Paul Heyman to be in the Hall of Fame because of where they're at. And here's the funny thing. He's got all the ties of the bloodline matches all weekend.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're going to talk about the scenarios that could happen later, was Rock, bruising Roman Reigns, could Rollins turn on Cody, so many different factors that could take place. It's just funny that if this is Heyman's weekend, if it all ends in him not knowing, not expecting the worst that could happen for Roman Reigns, that's kind of baffling. And as we're getting closer, and now Paul Heyman being part of the Hall of Fame, I think it's starting to give the Roman fans a little more confidence that reign could continue. So NoDQ Galaxy, stay tuned because we'll be talking about that. But we're talking about Paul Heyman now, but I just wanted to – I didn't expect this. I mean, even being in Philly, I completely overlooked this. Yes, Aaron.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in because I've seen comments in the chat room. Uthman brought it up and a few others that – it's too soon for Paul Heyman to go in. I don't think that necessarily needs to be the case where somebody is 100% retired. Rey Mysterio went into the Hall of Fame, and he's still an active wrestler. Paul Heyman probably has a few more good years left in him as a TV performer, but I think the timing is actually perfect. Philadelphia, the home of ECW, it's very poetic. I think it's perfect to do the induction in Philadelphia. And Big G, I guess everybody else can answer this too. Who's inducting Paul Heyman? Who do you think it's going to be? And who would you like to see in your opinion, Big G?
That's a good question. I was on with Jeff yesterday talking about that. I was mentioning the Dudley Boys, Tommy Dreamer possibly. I would say RVD, but RVD is doing the whole thing with AEW now. But there's so many people out there. Even Roman Reigns could do it.
Billy Gunn was in AEW and still showed up for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
they could still borrow RVD.
They could be like a plethora of people. It could be like the Dudley Boys, Tommy Dreamer, Sandman. If Sandman does it, So it could be somebody that we don't even know. It could be one of. Doesn't he have kids?
Could be.
So it could be it could be his children that induct him too. So,
Walter Cruz, what do you think here?
Yeah, congratulations. I think well deserved, and the timing of it's perfect. Where else but Philadelphia? They did the well thing, and because he's a bloodline, and because he's part of such a big thing, and because it's after SmackDown for time consumption. If I was WWE, I would make him the only Hall of Fame person this year. Make it all about him. Nice and short. Don't go over an hour. And you literally have maybe the whole of everybody who's still alive in ECW. Each of them can give a short word, tell the history of Paul Heyman. Then he finally comes out and then he gives a short speech. And the bloodline is there too. So you make it all about him and each of them can have their speech and maybe the big group of the big originals, RVD, all them people can all induct them and say something about him. And you make it just about him. That would be a good idea. And then if anyone deserves to only be in it by themselves, to me, it was The Undertaker. So that was a missed opportunity. But, you're here in Philly, and if you're going to do something, and it's after a SmackDown, fans are already going to be kind of worn out. You can do maybe just one induction, because otherwise you're going to pump all these back-to-back quick. You got a short time frame to make all these announcements. But one thing I do want to bring up is something JJ said last night. He said, I know it's a new time in social media, but I kind of missed the surprise announcements live on TV. It wasn't Monday. You could have waited till Raw and just announced it, or waited till SmackDown when it was about it. But at the same time, it could be that they don't want him getting cheered and the fans to get distracted and start saying, you deserve it, and take over a segment. So I know it's new times, and that's why they announced it that way. And you do get eyes that don't normally stare at at WWE, like people, ESPN and things, to actually see it. So it's like I see both sides to it, but I do miss where it was just kind of like the draft, how the draft was that selection weird thing on TV. Like I just kind of miss the way they used to announce the Hall of Fame.
All right, Mike. So we're talking about Paul Heyman's going to be the first inducted into the Hall of Fame, or the first announced to be in this year's WWE Hall of Fame, which has always been a Vince McMahon thing. And, you know, who knows? He could still be secretly selecting them. It could be Triple H. I'm pretty sure Heyman would have got in anyway. So what's your thoughts, Mike?
All right. I agree with Hoffman, I think it was, and I disagree with my brother-in-law, Aaron. He does belong in the Hall of Fame. I do not like active people getting into a Hall of Fame. And I was equally as mad when Rey Mysterio got in. He's an active wrestler. You're not a Hall of Famer until your career is over with. That's my opinion, but he's absolutely deserving. And I want to give a shout out to right there, Matt Hofstadter. I agree with him. I flip-flop his second and third greatest managers of all time, Jim Cornette, Bobby the Brain, and Paul Heyman. So you're going to put a manager in, and the work he's done with the Bloodline, I think, is probably his best work. But that's just me. I mean, if you want to go as ECW in his earlier, you know, when he was in shape and more active and whatnot, I won't argue on that. But I think he's been spectacular in the Bloodline. I just don't think active people should go in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're right. I agree. Because look at sports. You usually got to wait X amount of years. But you have people like in the chat that want Cody Rhodes to win so bad at WrestleMania this year, and he has to finish the story. Cody should be in the Hall of Fame right now. You have people that think that way. They put these people on a pedestal. They live vicariously through them, and they must be booked the way that their brain tells them they need to be booked. So that's why people in wrestling get inducted while they're still doing it, Mike. But I agree with you. Like in sports, you should be out of it X amount of years. You know, and what does out of it mean? Not a ring competitor, but then how does managers get treated? So just completely gone off TV from the business. Because some of those guys that stick around, Mike, they're agents in the back that we never see. So like at what level is a true retirement? Like, you know what I mean? Just off the spotlight.
Yeah,
but I like yeah. So I agree with that. Aaron, any super chats? What would you like to say? In addition, go ahead.
All right, we do have a super chat here from Shanti. Shout out to Shanti. Says, aloha from Hawaii. I'll catch this on demand. He says, back to work. He acknowledges the tribal chief, and he's calling it now. This is an interesting take. Seth Rollins turns on the Cody Cry babies. That's an interesting take there. I really don't have too much to add to the Paul Heyman story. I mean, wrestling is not a real sport, so I don't think that the Hall of Fame rules apply. Also, if we want to talk about like what the Hall of Fame should or should not do, what about having an actual physical Hall of Fame? Like the whole thing is a publicity stunt to begin with. Like it doesn't even have an actual physical location. So they're going to do what they're going to do. I think Paul Heyman in Philadelphia is the right way to go. If not this year, you know, no other year to me is going to feel as satisfying as the city where ECW got put on the map. So that's my take on it. I'm thinking he's a great choice, especially with his involvement in the main storyline right now. Mr. Tito sent in a $2 super chat. He says, I'm so proud of Paul Heyman. Bravo. Yep. Paul Heyman, very well deserved. And as I mentioned on my other stream, I hope they keep it small, like maybe 3 or 4 people and not bloat it, especially when it's on the same night as SmackDown. It's not like the old days where the Hall of Fame had its own night and you could do like 5 hours of the Hall of Fame and have like 6 or 7 people being inducted.
That's why I said just make it about Heyman by himself.
And everybody like in the chat, like who's going to induct him? Who's like, we'll find out. But the no-brainer is CM Punk because he's not really doing much WrestleMania weekend, although he might be part of it as a referee or commentary. I think he's the number one choice at this point. Let him have a nice long speech for Heyman. But it could be a lot of people, to be honest. Not Brock Lesnar, though.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like I said, they might talk him in passing.
Although Brock's being wrongfully canceled. Just wanted to get that out there, but go ahead.
No, I got nothing to add to that.
Are we caught up on super chats?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next topic. And I don't like if you watched the whole AEW Revolution, you could comment on it like Joe retaining or whatever. But like, let's get to the elephant in the room. Sting, his last match, him and Darby Allin defended the tag team titles against the Young Bucks, the EVPs, and of course, won the match. Still the champions. Sting's retiring, so Tony Khan's going to vacate those titles. The right move. I know on the way out, a veteran will put over somebody, but like in the Young Bucks and AEW as tag champs, like you didn't have to put them over. I liked Sting's sons coming out there dressed as different versions of him. Coming in doing the splashes. I don't know if they're workers or what they do in real life, but it was cool. That was cool. I did enjoy that when I watched the match, which I didn't watch the pay-per-view, but I watched the match. And of course the spots, glass, sugar glass, candied glass. I don't care what kind of glass it is. If people are bleeding from it, it's some type of real. So Sting did his little thing in the ring. Going into the corner like a table would have been set up. He was protected, fully clothed. Sting knows better. Stuff flew out into the crowd. Aaron was telling me how AEW is giving disclaimers.
Yeah, let me throw it up.
I know you're supposed to, any event, right, be careful, but like I can't believe like AEW, you're not supposed to have fans in harm's way. You're supposed to do what you can to protect them. I don't see WWE doing this. And I know WWE, there's been times where things have gotten close and have touched fans. It happens. But, man, this is something. Like, I don't know why all those spots needed to happen in this match, taking away from just Sting's last match. I mean, it could have been a regular wrestling match, but why? Because it's AEW and Darby Allin's involved. I thought that spot at the end was just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the refs holding the ladder, all the bad tropes about outlaw type, like Jim Cornette says, mud wrestling, were on display within this match. Luckily, Sting was there. He did his thing. His sons were there dressed as versions of him, and it saved the day. So kudos to Sting in his career. But I just want to know everybody's thoughts because, if you're Tony Khan, you got veteran agents that work with you. Yeah, maybe Sting wanted this. I don't know, but like you could have cleaned it up a little bit. It could have been even more Sting. I don't know. Like, Mike, I'll have you go first here because I think you kind of got the gist of what happened, whether you saw it or not. And I think you saw the glass spot.
Yes.
I like Darby Allin, and I used to say he's like their version of Jeff Hardy until I think he, at some point, is even more insane than Jeff Hardy. And why are we talking about Darby Allin when this was Sting's last match? You see what I mean? Go ahead, Mike.
All right. I'll start with Sting, and I'm going to keep it clean because I don't want to get kicked off the reviews here. Hats off to him. Credit. What a career. Never, ever was a fan. His mic skills have never been good, and that's where I focus my attention in wrestling. His in-ring stuff is good. Obviously, at 60-something, he wasn't able to do the stuff he used to be able to do. They sent him out, the champ, vacate the titles. I'm glad they did that. And kudos to him. Great career. I personally wasn't a fan. So I'm not going to miss him at all because no matter what is coming from the rafters or the snow or the colorful paint or the NWO paint and the black baseball bat, I never, ever cared for Sting, just a personal opinion. And I'm not going to crap on anybody who was a Sting fan. I just wasn't. On to the spot. The only thing I'll say about this spot, at least it was a pay-per-view in front of a packed house where he did it. Unlike when Sammy Guevara did that swanton from like 16 feet or whatever it was onto Powerhouse Hobbs on the table in front of 2,000 fans and on their B show, which gets like 300,000 viewers. To do a spot like that is typical AEW. They just come out, blow their wad, and leave nothing. we'll get to this later, but like SmackDown last week, 38 minutes and not one person was touched, and it was gold.
And everybody in the arena was standing.
Yes.
For 38 minutes.
Exactly. So, but anyway, back to AEW. At least, like I say, at least the Darby spot was a pay-per-view in front of a packed house. Although I agree with you, Virtue, unnecessary, but at least it was in the right spot for it.
Yeah, I like Tito showcasing Darby. We showcasing what? We know he does all the stupid things. Like there's nothing that was showcased that was different. Like that would elevate him into a new. When a veteran goes out, you're supposed to elevate somebody into another level. Darby didn't get into any new level. We just know he's as stupid as he always was in terms of craziness. Like that's no showcase to me. The kid can wrestle a little bit, actually. I would have loved to see him wrestle more. Yeah. Like do more moves, less stunts. That would have been showcasing to me. But old school mentality, like Al Snow, Jim Cornette. But yes, Aaron.
I just wanted to add to what Mike said. And by the way, Mike, I agree with you about
right, Tito.
Doing it on the pay-per-view. Oh, geez. I agree with you about the pay-per-view, but what I wanted to add was when I went to Madison Square Garden for SmackDown last year in July, that whole first 30 minutes of the show was, remember the whole storyline with Jey Uso and Roman Reigns setting up SummerSlam. That went on for a very long time, but everybody was invested. People were standing for the entire time. It's 30 minutes flew by. So, they are into that. It's two different audiences. WWE fans prefer the soap opera stuff with the talking, and AEW, it's more about the actual moves in the ring. But yeah, Mike, I do agree with you about if they're going to do the crazy stunts, that is the place to do it in the main event of a pay-per-view in front of a sold-out crowd, not on a random episode of Rampage with 2,000 fans in the building.
Mike, anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Big G.
So I haven't watched AEW in the past 2 or 3 weeks, but I did watch the pay-per-view. Sting's last match, it was what it was. But good for Sting on his retirement. He was able to go out on his terms after what happened in 2015 with the whole Seth Rollins thing and not being able to wrestle. I was glad to see that I was glad that I was able to see Sting live a few times in AEW and on the Indies. So, I mean, I wasn't a big Sting fan either, but, I went back and watched his work at WCW as the Crow, and he didn't talk much. He didn't need to talk much. He was the silent person. And then, his stint in TNA as the Joker Sting, I thought was pretty cool. But like I said, he went out on his terms now. He's over 60 years old. I did like the spots with his sons coming out as, Surfer Sting and the Wolfpack Sting. That was pretty cool, and doing the Stinger splashes and stuff like that. The glass spot, I don't know. This is why I'm starting not to like AEW, because it's just the same crap over and over and over and over again. I don't know. I'm just tired of it. So, good for Sting. Yes.
What are you going to do when Jeff Jarrett retires? You got to be there for that one.
Oh, screw Jeff Jarrett.
Right?
What?
The man can die already.
I don't buy it. Big G has learned to become a good worker, and he's working us right now. But yeah, so and that's the thing. At least they pulled Sting's final match off without a hitch. Got through it. He went over. Yeah, you know what I mean? The glass and Darby Allin's side. Young Bucks did, they were the heels going in, like Tito said, and they put over who needed to be put over in this scenario for a good send-off. Walter, you're sitting there kind of contemplating. What do you think here?
Because I have to this has to come out of my mouth. I have to give Tony Khan credit. Yeah. No,
that must have hurt.
Yeah.
He let Sting go over on WWE. Didn't. Yeah.
Exactly. As much as I criticize AEW and I talk crap, they just do their pay-per-view so well. Their pay-per-view, if they can just put as much effort into Dynamite and things like that they do the pay-per-views, then maybe we'll get solid competition and you get the views that you want to get. But when it comes to pay-per-views, they just, it's something different. They put it on. And I honestly think that all the performers just said, we're going to put on a hell of a show for Sting. Like, I think backstage, it was a camaraderie that everybody just wanted to do it for Sting. Everybody had like some kind of old school vibe or old school feeling, like the entrances, everything. And I think everybody just wanted to go all out for Sting, like as a thank you to Sting. So I think everybody just elevated the performance a little more in honor of him. But they did it right. That was the one match I think I got wrong. I thought they were gonna do it in typical Tony Khan fashion, and Buck being the elite. So I thought they were gonna beat them, but they didn't. They handled Sting's career well. I mean, yeah, he did his little jumps and things as a 64-year-old man, but he was undefeated and he got to retire a champion. So I mean, I think that's awesome for him. The glass spot, yeah, that was a little too much. You don't need that. But then again, would Darby Allin be Darby Allin if he didn't do something crazy like that? Like,
did Tony Khan vacate the titles already, Aaron?
Yes.
Why would he just not let Darby Allin find a new partner?
He's going to Mount Everest.
Oh yeah. Yeah, although he might be more likely to survive that than in wrestling.
He's gonna do a coffin. He's gonna do a coffin drop off of Mount Everest.
Probably.
He'll go up to the first base camp.
I thought they would be like, you have a month to find another partner. Otherwise, I'm gonna vacate the titles, and then you have a whole storyline of him trying to find a new partner and nobody wanted to team with him, and then somebody finally steps up last minute. You could have made a thing about this instead of just vacant. The most decorated champion in the history of any company is vacant. He's won more titles than anybody else. Like, literally every single title in every company, vacant is a title. Like, no one could ever be vacant. But the pay-per-view overall, man, I gotta give Tony Khan credit. Give him the seal clap. But he booked everything right. But damn, I don't know what happened with Dax, but that blood looked crazy. That looked worse than Darby after the glass. Like, I don't know what happened, or how he must have like hit something real bad. Like, that was not bleeding. He bled the hard way. Dax,
and it's like wrestling used to be the illusion of being real, and now they can just go out there and make most of it real. Yeah. It's insane. But all right, well, thank you, Walter. Aaron, over to you.
All right, so the Darby glass spot did get a lot of criticism from people, and I totally understand the criticism. I think that at the end of the day, Darby can do what he wants. He's a stunt man. He likes to take the risks, but it's all fun. It's all entertaining until somebody gets hurt. As great as that match was, I mean, I think that they were all pretty lucky to come out of that match relatively unscathed. I think that all it takes is one accident and you're going to have a lot of problems. Darby could have landed wrong. He could have severed an artery. I mean, who knows? Any number of things could have happened during that match. And, somebody at ringside could have been cut. I don't know if that disclaimer they put up would hold any real weight in a court of law. Like, they gotta be careful to protect the audience and glass. Like, who? Show of hands, and this goes for the chat room too. I mean, maybe some people did, but show of hands, who thought going into this pay-per-view we were going to see people going through broken glass? I did not. We would have predicted it if we were thinking it was going to happen. I mean, I thought, okay, they're doing a Texas tornado match, so they're going to be fighting in the crowd. Sting might do a big dive. They might jump off the stage. The stuff with the going through the tables by the stage, like all that stuff I expected. The glass was not expected. And I can't imagine fans buying ringside tickets thinking that there was going to be shattered glass all over the place flying around the ringside area. Like, that is something that I don't think AEW could get away with if somebody actually got hurt.
The pettiness of the wrestling business. We don't know who introduced it, why it was in the match, but the Bucks were involved in the match. And glass, which Punk and Jack Perry had the issue. This was a potential another shot, stupid little wacky jab. at Punk. And again, Sting's in the match. He's the veteran. So, we'll take all that with a grain of salt. If he flew with it, you got it. It is what it is.
Yeah. And the thing with Jack Perry's glass, like that was far away from any fans. Like no fans were at risk from getting hurt with that. But with that glass, when Darby Allin crashed, like you could see it like fly into the crowd. Like a few people came in close contact with that glass. So it was a risky spot. You were putting the fans at risk a little bit with that. So for that, I do have mixed feelings. But as far as him doing something risky in the match, I don't have a problem with that. People will remember this. People will go back and say, oh, yeah, in Sting's last match, Darby did that crazy stunt. It's something people will remember. So like Mike said, at least they did it at a major event like this, and it wasn't just some throwaway episode of Rampage that people will forget in a week. That, I will say, was justified for them to do the stunts as far as being on the big stage and something that people will remember potentially years from now. So that's my take on it. I thought it was a great show.
We always remember the stunts until the next stunt, and then that's the one we...
Well, I remember that one, but yeah, I mean, they've done tons of stuff on Rampage and Collision that I'll forget a week later.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Pay-per-view, at least, it's a little more meaningful, bigger crowds. But I don't think Mercedes Moné is going to be going through any glass, so we'll have to see. Or Okada if he lands.
Trash cans, tables, ladders, that's all I expected. But glass, no.
All right, main event time. So on SmackDown, Rock kind of countered the challenge that Cody had to him, and like we all heard it through the grapevine, we speculated a potential tag match is on the horizon for night one, where it would be The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. The Rock decided to step it up and put some stipulations on the line. So if the Bloodline win the tag match, it's Bloodline rules night two. So that means Bloodline can be there, anything goes, and it could be interesting. Right? And that's totally what I think we expect will happen. And we can list out all of our scenarios. But if Cody and Seth win, no Bloodline, and it's Roman all by himself, and that opens up a lot of possibilities. And here's the thing that I like. If we would have got Roman and Rock this year for the title, it would have been very, very predictable. Like, there was always a chance Rock could have beat Roman, but we would have thought Roman would retain. Cody getting his shot again, trying to finish the story, it becomes predictable. Like, yeah, they're not going to do this to Cody and his fans 2 years in a row. So they have to start adding some doubt for Cody fans at least. And I like this because a couple things could happen. Roman could walk out of WrestleMania still champion because say that no Bloodline is out there night two. Rollins could, for some weird reason, come out and screw Cody, and he has several reasons to do it, especially if he loses his title to Drew, and the fact that Cody didn't choose him after Rollins sold him that bill of goods of that working man's championship. Sami Zayn could come back out and join the Blood. Like, there's so many weird things. We expect that The Rock is going to end up being out there, and he's going to tell the Bloodline, no. It'll be Bloodline rules. He'll say, no, let Roman do this on his own, and that's where the story is finished. But at least now there could be some doubt. Like for all the Cody fans, all the Cody crybabies that are 100% for sure he's winning and finishing the story, even if there's 10% doubt that creeps in their mind now heading into WrestleMania, and it becomes 60-40 at some point, then you're going to be on the edge of your seat that entire night one and night two, and that's what it's all about. Kind of maybe not knowing exactly what happened, where the coin goes up in the air and you don't know if it's going to land heads or tails. And I like that I'm starting to feel that way. Like, I still believe that this will be Cody's time to finally get it so they can shut up those fans and then focus on Rock and Reigns how they want to with a year to build. But there's these little things that I'm gathering, and my gut feeling says it might go the other way. They might let Roman get to Hogan. We just don't know. And I want everybody's thoughts here. Like, I don't want an obvious outcome. Like, you could say, I want this to happen because you're a fan of a certain person and that's how you want them to book it. But you should also tell yourself, but I don't know if they're going to do that. And I got to watch because I don't know what's going to happen. That's what a true fan needs. And I hope everybody going into WrestleMania, whether it's the Dave LaGreca's in his pink bathrobes who thinks that he's making an influence on the business, or it's people like me that have that knew this Rock Roman thing superseded anything, Cody, if we all have a little doubt of the other way, this is a successful WrestleMania. So, Mike, I'm coming right back to, Walter first. I didn't start with Walter first yet. Walter, I'm coming to you on this one. We're talking Bloodline. Cody, dude, guess who got acknowledged? And that awkwardness is there because, like The Rock almost gritted his teeth saying it. And we expect that at some point there's going to be a problem with it. But take it away, Walter.
Yeah, I said the same thing when Roman grabbed the microphone like that and said, "I need a favor." I was like, "Oh crap, here we go." But the fact that he just acknowledged him, and then Aaron points it out that every time he does the one with the bloodline, that this finger sticks out and it's almost the L or the pointing at Roman. Like, so there's little hints, and even on Raw, Seth did it. Like, if you look real close, Seth went like that for a second, then he went like this, like something was up with his hand, like. So there's little subtle teases. So yeah, I like this, and I can't wait to get to WrestleMania. And this Bloodline story just it's the gift that keeps on giving, because we thought it was this, and then it was that, and then we thought it was going to end, and now blocks just keep adding to it. It's like Legos. You just keep stacking it over and over again. But I can't wait to see where it goes from it. But we literally went from 0 people ever working both nights since they started doing 2 nights to potentially 3 or 4 people having to do it all at WrestleMania 40. Because, like, if the tag goes, which we think it is, now Cody's going to work both nights. Roman's going to work both nights. We don't know if Rock will work both nights, but he's going to presumably show up on both nights.
Yep.
Yeah, he'll show up on both nights. But, like, now you got 3 or 4 people on both nights. So, like, on one hand, I know people will be like, well, let's steal spotlights from everybody. Well, too bad there's not enough space for everybody. Like, not everybody can be on every show, and we know WrestleMania will probably add a pre-show or a couple multi-person matches, so they'll get their payday, so things will happen. But
there's 2 nights now, so there's more opportunity for anybody than there's ever been. So if a couple people work both nights, who cares? There's still way more. I mean, I know there was some WrestleMania 4 and 5s back in the day where they do like 16 matches in one night, but a lot of those matches were like 5 minutes long. But Walter, I mean, it's good to have a little doubt. Like, for anybody that is like a Cody fan, if some doubt can be built up inside of them, that is great to watch an event, even if it's scripted. And I think both sides need to have the oohs and the ahs, and I hope WWE really lays this all out to get everybody's emotion at its physical peak. And no matter what happens, it's okay. The Roman fans are going to be like, ha ha, and Cody's fans are going to have to wait, or Cody's fans will be satisfied, and the Roman fans will focus on what's next for the head of the table feud. Everybody wins. Everybody wins here, right? I mean, the only thing, again, for the people that are sick and pass away that want to see Rock and Roman, and now, if something happens to them before that happens, that's where I feel. But I guess we're enjoying everything that's happening right now. I mean, people can say the Rock's playing his power card and whatever. Well, whatever's happening, a lot of people are talking, and there's a lot of angles going on right now. I'm not a fan of everything, like, the Seth Rollins, the diarrhea. Like, come on, like that must be.
That sounded like a Vince thing almost. That diarrhea to But what if this happens? Like, you talk about Cody Crybabies, he does all this, finishes the story, and then Priest cashes in on him right then and there and wins. Like, imagine that. That's still a possibility. Nobody knows. Imagine the outpour of these crybabies if Cody did that and then immediately lost the title to Damian Priest. But Priest is a dick. He's Judgment Day. He's a heel. Yeah. What is he supposed to do? He's supposed to do stuff like this, so you can't even get mad at it. Like, that would be funny as all hell to me if he finished the story and did all that just to lose to Damian Priest.
And everybody, like I pointed this out before, Roman's next win, tag or singles matches, his career win 1,000, according to Cage match or whatever. And does he get it night 1, which is most likely in the tag match? Boom, I'm 1,000. Goes in with bloodline rules, and then we get the whole Rock turn drama. This is one thing, Walter. Why does it have to, why can't Roman be the one that turns on the Rock? I know the Rock's such big stature, and I completely think it's going to go the obvious way, but isn't Roman and Heyman always been one up on everything? This whole run of having the bloodline planted and stuff. then I mean, I guess the only one person that could fool them is The Rock by coming in, making him think it's all his family thing, and then he ends up saying, no bloodline, let Roman do it on his own, which I just don't want to see Roman be the dumb heel. Like, that's my thing. And if they can just do this right, I don't care if he loses the title then.
Who's to say Roman can't do that? Roman and Heyman can always say, we're going to do to you what you were going to do to us before you can do it. Like, we all smart at you. You can always, that could be a story in and of itself. And what if that leads to Roman Rock one-on-one later? Just because it wasn't at WrestleMania, it could lead to the WrestleMania 41 one, or if they don't want to do it at WrestleMania, you could do it sometime this year. But that's what could lead to the WrestleMania 41. That right there.
Yep. Thank you, Walter. All right, Big G.
Yep.
You know what I don't want to happen here is, like, with The Rock, it's his statue of being a movie star and the power play. I just don't want him to take the shot. That's why I'm glad what happened on SmackDown with Roman stepping in. And think about it, with Heyman involved, and everything I always hear about Jason Jordan, he's a very smart to the business and clever. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt that at some point they're going to do the right things, and everybody wants to criticize Rock for coming in and doing a power play, but yet things seem like they're starting to play out pretty smart where everybody's getting their moments, right?
Yeah.
Roman had a moment there, even if it's fake. Rock acknowledged him that's another step, that's another inning in this bloodline drama that it's going to end in the bottom of the ninth with Rock and Roman at some point.
Yeah.
So, Big G, what are your thoughts here on this all the different scenarios for WrestleMania 2 nights? You're going to be there.
Yeah.
Walter's going to be there.
Yeah, for both nights. So speaking of the whole bloodline segment on SmackDown, I was on the edge of my seat the whole entire time. My wife was out there watching with me because she's intrigued in the whole thing. My wife was booing Rock acknowledging Roman Reigns. She did not like that whatsoever. But yeah, Rock acknowledging Roman Reigns, I feel like it's all, it's the obvious route. It's Rock, playing double agent or, doing a whole scheme to turn on Roman on night 2. But yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like Paul Heyman had looked at The Rock when The Rock was doing the whole L thing, and then Rock went back to the just to the finger. And so I wonder if Paul Heyman's gonna say, talk to Roman like, you might want to watch out for The Rock, just to be on the safe side. But yeah, I enjoy the segment, and like you said, there's so many possibilities that could happen. But the obvious thing that I can see happening is Rock and Roman win on night 1. That way you do have the bloodline stipulation and stuff like that. And then night 2, the bloodline's out there, Jimmy's out there, Solo's out there. I hope Solo does the national anthem. No, I'm kidding. And then you're going to have your whole big thing where there's a ref bump. Or no, you don't even have to have a ref bump, but like The Rock will turn on Roman Reigns and Rock Bottom, and Cody will win, and that's how you set up Rock Roman for WrestleMania 41 or SummerSlam this year or whatever. But I'm just happy because I could, I've never seen The Rock live in person before, so seeing him 2 nights in a row, that'll make up for the 20 plus years of wrestling fandom that I've had, and I've never seen The Rock.
Yeah.
So. But I'm happy. I'll be happy regardless of whatever happens. Like I was telling Aaron before we went on the air, this is my first Mania, so I'm gonna be pumped no matter what. The matches could all freaking suck for all I cared.
Yeah.
Just being there in the atmosphere with over 70,000 plus fans or 80 plus thousand fans or whatever, just being there in that atmosphere. So.
Well, thank you for that, Big G. Okay, Mike, sorry to make you wait here. Now,
Right.
The Rock got cheered pretty much all the way up until he took Cody's Royal Rumble spot, or made Cody, how that all played out, and then the boos started. And Rock loves playing heel, is a great heel, but they're probably going to try to position him to get the cheers back. And so by playing along with the bloodline all the way up until it's not time anymore, and to put all the bloodline in check so Cody and Roman can finish it one-on-one clean. If The Rock is there, I don't think those diehard fans will boo him anymore. They'll be grateful that it played out that way, and that's why it is the most obvious way. What's your thoughts here? Because I know you like the bloodline, right? You like the Roman stuff.
Yeah.
This is like right up your alley, and you see different scenarios that it could take place. And like, I don't want to go into a WrestleMania and the Cody fans like, yep, it's winning, it's definitely happening, and then it happens. It's like, what fun was that? I want them to have some serious doubt. What do you have to say here?
All right. First of all, let's dissect the promo for a second here. Roman Reigns is absolutely brilliant at what he does. As you could see when he's standing off to the side, the look on his face is like, listen to these people reacting to The Rock. And I mean, he even said it before The Rock came out. He said, that's it. I've done my time. I'm out of here. You guys blew it. And then he stands over to the side with a look of dejection on his face because he knows he's not the big star of the bloodline right now. And if you're going to sell him as the head of the table, I think the grabbing of the hand and say, hey, you got to acknowledge me, that had to be done. And without it, it almost makes, like you said, Virtue, it almost makes him look like the dumb heel. It's like, well, geez, I'm the head of the table and I just get shuffled off to the side. So I think they're going to hint at dissension. Rock and Reigns will win the tag team. They'll have bloodline rules, and then Rock interferes like everybody's been talking.
Yeah.
And because I don't think there's any way you can beat Roman clean. That personally, that's me. I think that would be a shitty way to go out for him to get just beat flattered and play to piss 1, 2, 3 and lose the title. I think that would be wrong personally. But I'm a huge Roman fan. So what I would like to see happen though is Cody and Seth win the tag titles, and then it's just Roman and Cody. And then, as I can't remember who it was that touched on it, and then almost like 2/3 of a resurrection of the Shield, Rollins interferes with the match, costs Cody, and then Roman retains and passes Hogan for number 2.
Now, did you say tag titles? There's no titles on this.
Oh no, I said
you mean win the
title,
tag match?
The match.
Dude, I'm telling you, I would love to see Cody and Rollins win night 1, and then no bloodline, and Roman's on the island all by himself with Cody, and then the only person that could save him is his former Shield member, Rollins,
right.
and then Cody's story continues, the chase continues. Again, if they could, I just want the doubt. I want it to be where, even if it's 60, it doesn't have to be a 50-50 coin flip. 60-40, I'm fine with. I just want to be watching it, knowing it could literally go either way. The last 5 to 10 minutes of WrestleMania. That's what because then when it happens, we were all in for that ride. We all took that ride together, and then we can talk about it. But we don't want to go in like, yep, it's happening. And you're just like, oh, when's it going to happen? Looking at your phone. Up there, it's happening just like we all thought it would. I want us all to be fooled. And I know there's a fine line of overbooking. So they got to be careful with that too, because that can make everything seem like crap. But man,
and
it's one entertaining time.
One last thing. I was huge on the bloodline. The bloodline, Judgment Day. Is it just me, or did they miss their chance for Priest to cash in? And take, I mean, I think if Priest wins the title now, it's almost either title. I think it's almost meaningless at this point, because I think Priest has lost a lot of where he was months ago. And I'm a huge Judgment Day fan.
So, I think if he doesn't do it at Mania, then it's over. The window's gone.
But I mean, I'm just talking even for a business side of it, it's like, okay, so he beat Seth or Drew or Cody or Roman or whoever. And now he's the champ. It's like, that's almost like a stagnant champ, in my opinion, at this point. Now, if he would have cashed in 6 months ago, I can see that. Because he was hot.
It'll have to happen with the World Heavyweight Championship somewhere.
I mean,
somehow, what if Punk cost McIntyre, and then Seth retained, and then boom, something happened after the match that allowed Priest to cash in on Seth. They're probably going to do something that route. It could even be the next night on Raw, right?
Yeah.
Save it for a cash in on Raw. So it's not like they still have a way out. I think if they have Priest cash in unsuccessfully, then it's a complete failure. Even if you have him win it and he loses it the next time he defends it, at least he won it and had it. But I think it has to be that title. I don't think he can mess around with the other title, with the prestige that the other title has right now.
Let's not mess around. I mean, look at Seth Rollins. He held the briefcase for a long time too, and cashed it in at WrestleMania 31.
Yeah.
You know, in the middle of the match, and I could potentially see that happening. Even Ziggler, he held it on until the night after WrestleMania. So it's not like Priest is gonna, you know, his window is closing. They have a whole year now. If he didn't cash it in at the end of the year, that's stupid booking. But he still has all that time, and you got WrestleMania. And you got the Raw after Mania. So
I know he's got the full year. I'm talking about putting the strap on him at this point. I mean, because I think he's almost a mid-carder at this point, where 6 months ago you could have sold the fact that he was title, champion worthy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mike. And of course, you still have people in the chat like Roman's losing 100% sure, because I'm a mark. And it's Cody's story to finish on the big stage, and it's definitely going to happen because I'm a mark. All right, Aaron, go ahead. I know some super chats came in.
All right. First of all, shout out to Marshall. Thank you for being patient. Takes a while to get back over to me, as you know. He said Roman is losing at WrestleMania, so he definitely is not convinced that there's a chance Roman is going to lose. But Virtue, you're right about the fact that we need some twists and turns, so it's not completely obvious who's winning at WrestleMania. You know, when they do these rematches and Cody was unsuccessful last year, it seems like a foregone conclusion he's going to win. So you want to throw in some twists and create some doubt. And I think they're doing a very effective job of creating a little bit of doubt with The Rock getting involved and, bringing up Seth Rollins. Could Seth Rollins potentially betray Cody? They're all buddy now. They were good. They were rivals a couple years ago, bitter rivals fighting inside Hell in a Cell. And now they're all buddy. So I like that. And I think they should tease a little bit of dissension between Cody and Seth Rollins for WrestleMania. So, you still have it in the back of your mind, but wait a minute, what if Seth Rollins does betray Cody? And is The Rock really going to betray Roman Reigns, or is The Rock actually going to continue to run with this heel character? So I definitely want to see more of that, creating some doubt and potential twists. But yeah, if Cody wins in the end, it'll be a great story and everybody will be into it. But going in, you want to not feel 100% confident that Cody's winning. That's the key to good storytelling, is even if you think Cody's going to win, you still keep it in the back of your mind that anything can happen in WWE. You never know. So I like it. I like that people are questioning it, and the fact that we're debating possible scenarios. I think that's a good thing. I think that's a sign that they're doing a very good job with the storytelling up to this point. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says maybe Rock put in that tag stipulation to screw Roman Reigns. We'll have to see what happens. I mean, there's so many things that can happen. We'll be talking about the tag match. We'll be doing predictions for it. We still have about a month to go. There's even more twists that we can potentially get between now and WrestleMania.
Now, Aaron, before you go on the next one, I just want to be very clear versus what I want versus what I think. What I want is for the obvious and for Rock to be the one that costs Roman. So the story is finished. The title is off Roman because he can always get it back. Yeah, the number of days will start over, but he can always get it back. I just want that to be gone so we can finally focus on what should always have been the focus, Rock and Roman. That's been building up since 2015, even though we didn't know it then. That's what I want. So I want, when I see the Sean Greers or Greens or Garners or whatever, I want exactly what you want to happen for those very reasons, to move on, for the bloodline story to evolve so I can get Rock and Roman at some point and the fans aren't going to be bitchy and moany about it. They're going to grow into it and accept it. And then I can like both sides, whether it's Rock is the face and Roman is the heel, or they do a switch and vice versa, because maybe the Rock's loving being a heel. Who knows? But I want Cody to win so I can move on past all of this, so I don't have to see these fans clamoring for it. But my brain just says sometimes the thrill is in the chase. WWE likes to, even though Vince isn't there, Triple H has still got the mindset of he understands business. So that's why I want to throw doubt into some of you. Okay, Aaron.
All right. Thank you for that. And regarding Damian Priest, yeah, they have been really pushing this Money in the Bank cash in far out from when he won the briefcase, and it does feel like he had more momentum several months ago to potentially cash it in. I think it will all make sense though if he does cash in at WrestleMania, because that's the Super Bowl of wrestling, and if you're going to do the cash in, that's the place to do it. I would rather see him cash in at WrestleMania and lose than not cash in at WrestleMania, because I think he looks like an idiot for not cashing in at WrestleMania. Think about it. In kayfabe terms, if you have that briefcase, wouldn't you want to be in the Super Bowl of wrestling and be on the biggest stage possible? Like, even if it's not necessarily a sneak attack, and it can still be a sneak attack. He can still come in and cash in at the end of the match. So I think he has to do it at WrestleMania, and it'll probably be the world title match. I mean, maybe he attempts on night one, maybe he shows up at the end of the tag match, he doesn't get it done, and then he shows up on night two and decides to cash in on Rollins. Yeah.
So Uthman Mark, first of all, I don't bitch and moan about wrestling like you Marks do. I don't bitch and moan about the wrestling. I bitch and moan about you stinky, slobby, BO-driven, fat slob fans that I don't even like to go to events anymore because 80% of the crowd are stinky, yucky, fat pig scum human beings that want to go and talk on their phone about we want Cody. That's what I bitch and moan about. I don't care about what the wrestling companies do. I hate what the fans want. Because we have a voice now, damn it.
Well, you know what? You seem to have a problem. You seem to have a problem with fans going to shows and cheering or booing whoever they want. Like you seem to have had a problem with fans booing Maxine Dupree. What's the deal with that?
When a fan who knows nothing about working in a ring is booing somebody because they think they're green, instead when the right thing to do is play on your phone, go to the bathroom, give them no reaction, but you want to be heard booing somebody because you want to tell them you're not a good worker. Fans don't know anything about that. That is a disrespectful boo. Okay. So booing somebody that you don't like pushed in a certain role, like when Roman was booed, that's fine. But like booing somebody's work that you don't think is good when you really have no clue what's good, you just think you do because you listen to Dave Meltzer and the star ratings, you are absolute bullshit, stupid fans. And you have a whole show of wrestlers that you love, that you pay to go see. Maxine Dupree going out there and being green, okay, that you could put that on the WWE but you got to test them out on the water sometimes. I mean, you have NXT on that small stage down there, but sometimes you got to do a house show with a couple thousand people to see if they really have what it takes. So why don't you take that energy and just put it into the person you want to see that night at that house show? It's a very different thing. It's becoming scary, Aaron, because fans think they can write the shows and who's on TV and who's not because who they think is good or not. Like, you have the right to like and boo who you want, but again, be respectful. If we're all so smart to the business, why are we critiquing? Like, why are we critiquing a wrestler because we don't think they're good? I know Gable Stevenson's getting it. He clearly is struggling right now of the real wrestling, the amateur wrestling, to the sports entertainment part. And he's got a cloud over his head from some allegations, and it's like fans boo him for all of that. Like, it's just, they need to know their place. And like I said, Aaron, I've said this before, focus on what you like. If you want to boo a heel because they're a heel, boo them. If you want to boo Roman because you don't like his push in 2015, boo him. But like, give these wrestlers a break. I mean, Nia Jax obviously gets it because she punches Becky, but yet they brought her back in the company. They didn't have to do that, but they did. They know more about Nia's work than you do. And this is the Triple H era, by the way. You're beloved. So that, Aaron, that's why I do that. Fans just, the disrespecting boos for the sake of booing somebody green, that's cringe to me.
Well, maybe they pay their hard-earned money and they want to see the best of the best at these events. Maybe their attitude is Maxine Dupree should be at NXT. She should be.
Welfare and mom and dad pay for it. They don't pay for shit.
Well, that's not every fan. You can't say that about every fan.
Hard-earned fans that pay their money, they don't do that shit. It's the stupid smarks who are there because mommy paid. It's that the hard-earned people have the sense in mind not to do that, or to focus their energy. Hey, let's go get a snack. This girl sucks, and then they get no reaction. Because when does the office take things into account more often than not? When a wrestler gets no reaction. When it's crickets out there, then they'll say, "Oh, she's not ready." So I don't know. They just boo to hear themselves boo, and that's the thing. This is the beauty of it. It happened to who's the other girl before? Eva Marie. I bet you they love that they drove her right out of the business. They love that shit. They love it. It's not about hard-earned money.
For the people, there are people that do spend their hard-earned money, and maybe they expect the best quality. If they want to see developmental talent, they'll go to an NXT show.
Don't be a fucking Dave Meltzer mark, man. Those are disrespectful fans that the seed
just because they say you suck.
The seed of fucking dirt sheets and praising matches and 5 stars and what's good in-ring work and shit, that has just ruined the perception of so much in wrestling. Back in the day, there were a lot of F-ups on TV, and nobody thought any of the wiser because it was the attitude.
No social media.
We were ready for that's messed it up too. But back in the day when all the people were green and bad, look at all the divas and the bra and panties there and stuff. But they moved on to put all that energy into what they liked afterwards instead of focusing on, well, that's not anywhere near.
I mean, what you're saying sounds like the old ECW fans where they just seem to enjoy chanting "you effed up" at a wrestler. Like that is, not very nice. But I think this one particular fan was just yelling "you suck" at Maxine Dupree. And, I don't think he was just trying to make it about himself. I mean, it was a house show. It's not like a televised event. The fans at ECW shows, like, they feel like they're part of the show and they try to take over the show with their chants, and they're very judgmental. If a wrestler like screws up a little move, they're going to get crapped on. I think in this case, maybe this fan just felt like if he's going to a live event and he's spending money on a ticket, and yeah, some fans might get in for free or might have a family member buy him a ticket. But for the ones that work hard and buy a ticket for the show, maybe they want to see the highest quality wrestling, and they don't want to see developmental.
Fuck bag dirt sheet marks. That's the ones those are the lowest scum of the scum, Aaron.
Well, show us where they hurt you. Show us where they hurt you.
They don't hurt me anywhere. I've been to hundreds of wrestling shows and back.
Well, you seem very triggered by it. You seem like you're traumatized, like you have nightmares at night.
Because I'm a great worker and I can elicit reactions, and I just elicited your reaction, and everything's strategically plotted. And I love to be against the grain because I love wrestling marks to be all pissed off and riled up, because that's how I get my jollies out of wrestling. Oh, I just opened the fourth wall or curtain and wall, whatever.
You mentioned Nia Jax. Rhea Ripley actually got a good match out of her at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. They brought her back in the beloved Triple H era. The beloved Triple H era is the one putting Maxine Dupree out there. Trust the system, right? If they think that she's not getting it, she will be gone. You don't have to boo for them to do it. You went to a house show. Can't be any more mark than that. And then all the other stuff you're paying to see, great. You got your money's worth with everything else. If you thought that wasn't your money's worth, Jesus. I mean, look at Wendy's. They want to introduce surge pricing. Come on, people.
All right, then. We got a couple super chats here, so we'll move along from that topic. That was fun. Mr. Anderson sent in $5. He says, The Rockin' Bloodline beats down Cody Rhodes night 2 of WrestleMania, and we hear glass shatter and Stone Cold Steve Austin saves Cody Rhodes. I mean, that is definitely some fantasy booking. I don't think that's going to happen. But hey, I mean, throw it out there. Let's say that anything can happen, right? Like, anybody can show up. Anything's possible. I mean, I would be legitimately surprised.
House shows were fun back in the day. Maybe, I don't know, Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era. House shows were real hot back then. I remember going to some basketball arenas like the one here in Cleveland for a house show. Now, this was the height of Austin's era. Dude, it was sold out like a Cavs game during LeBron's era for $18,000 for a house show. Just nuts back in the day. Absolutely nuts.
Anyways, would you like to see Steve Austin show up at WrestleMania and help Cody?
Why not? I mean, at that point, you might as well bring in Stallone, Philadelphia, Rocky, right? Stone Cold. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to see Stone Cold there for something, even if it's just a little beer drinking.
I wouldn't mind Stone Cold, but I think we got a better chance of seeing Dustin before Stone Cold for that.
You got to be careful, though. Like, if Cody's going to go over, you do got to let him have his time. Like, I mean, you could do the Bret Hart. Everybody comes out and puts him on their shoulders. But, like, don't take the shine away from Cody's moment if it does happen that night. So having a lot of involvement could do that. Like, you don't want Rock turning on Roman and then being there and taking the spotlight. You want Rock to do his thing and then get the F out of there. And let Cody just shine at that particular time. They need to be careful of that. Because Cody, he deserves it. He left, did his thing, helped create AEW, came back, and he's in these huge main events now.
City by the Bay sent in a $5 super chat. Now, this is regarding Cody potentially losing. You know, we're talking about when is the story going to end, and you know, the money is in the chase. Like, how long does he chase until he finally wins? And if he keeps losing, at what point do fans lose interest? Like, you reach the peak of Cody reactions. And Virtue, I thought you mentioned something on Twitter, like you feel like Cody is maybe starting to cool off a little bit. So, like, in that case, should they pull the trigger on him now and not have him lose again? Because then it's just going to keep being downhill for him.
There's a couple things, like, not that he's cooling off, but like Rock, people love this heel Rock. So yeah, die Rocky sucks. But there's people that love that, and they're starting to kind of like be mixed back and forth. And Jake, again, it could just be a catchphrase, yeet. It's getting louder and louder. I mean, it's. Yeah, so yeah, maybe pulling the trigger here on Cody now, right before it goes down the other way, mate. Yeah. Again, remember, Aaron? I said that's what I want. I want the bloodline to move on.
We just want fans to question, like, if it's actually going to happen or not, and wonder, are they going to consider Hulk Hogan? I would throw it out there on TV too, Hulk Hogan and that number. I'd have Roman Reigns talk about that, how he wants to beat Hogan's record, so it's in everybody's mind that, oh, he can potentially beat that record if he gets through Cody. Walter?
We were speaking about the bloodline. I'm like, when are they going to pull the trigger on you were talking about pulling the trigger with the Jimmy versus Jay? They got to like speed this up. Like
they are. I mean, they did last night. I'm sure.
Yeah, but why hasn't Jay showed up on SmackDown? Like Jimmy attacked you twice already. Like, you look like an idiot now. Like,
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure something will happen on SmackDown because, you know, you have Rock, Roman, Jimmy, and Solo, and then you got Seth and Cody being there. You know, Cody and Jay have that relationship too.
Yeah,
and you know, Jay could show up. You know, if they, you know, say Rock and Roman and Solo beat down Cody and Seth, who else but Jey Uso to come save him and, you know, continue that feud or continue setting up that match for Jimmy and Jay at WrestleMania.
And guys, part of me wanted the bloodline to reunite at night 2. Say The Rock was going to be the one to try to stop everything, and then Jay comes back, and they end up taking The Rock out because they were suspicious of him, and Reigns is supreme. Mm-hmm. But I can't even say I want that, even though that would give me my jollies. But because I don't want Jay to be compromised. I want him doing his thing, keeping that ball rolling, even if it's upper mid card. Going back to the bloodline like that, that's going to kind of kill the yeet stuff. And, you know, so again, Cody fans, I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. Wanting the same thing you want. All right, Aaron.
All right, we got one more super chat here. Shout out to Psycho Jet Black. He says, Virtue, who are your favorite wrestlers right now in WWE that are not in the bloodline? And also still waiting for Rhonda, Shane, and Mr. Tito's Cody Crybaby rants. Virtue favorite non-bloodline
Jey
people.
Uso, because he's not in the bloodline. But if you want me to go one step further, nobody that was affiliated with the bloodline. Logan Paul, Gunther, right? Gunther's grown on me, Aaron. You sold him on me. Female-wise, Rhea Ripley, Dominic. Dominic's cooled off a little bit, but I don't know. But losing matches will do that to you. But those are just a handful. I mean, LA Knight, I like him, but
he's cooled off a little bit, I think.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean I don't like him. So those are just a few.
I mean, there's a lot of people that are doing well in WWE right now. I mean, they're red hot. They're selling out every week now. Like, I think they've had 5 sellouts straight, and it looks like it's going to be 6 on Friday.
Like The Rock said, wrestling is cool again, and that's WWE cool again, And
I feel like I might be forgetting somebody, but, I'll tweet it if I ever remember it.
And that's without crazy glass spots and people bleeding every week.
Yeah, well, I mean, people like what they like, man. It's just the way it is. And Marshall sent in another $2 super chat. Just wanted to make it clear to you, Virtue, Roman is losing at WrestleMania.
I can 100% guarantee you he's not, in terms of nobody loses a wrestling match. It's fake scripted. They either go over as the winner or they go over as the loser, but they don't really lose because they're not really trying to win, so they don't lose. So he's not losing at Mania, technically, Marshall.
Yeah, maybe he's dropping the title.
He might drop the title. He might not go over.
Maybe it'll be the Philadelphia screw job.
Yeah, maybe there will be a screw job. I mean, either way, Roman Reigns is winning. He's going to be main eventing 2 nights of WrestleMania.
Oh, dude, yeah, and that's going to be 9 total show closers, because I'm going to give him 2 this year if that happens.
Hey, there you go.
And then 10 for Rock and Roman next year, because that's guaranteed night 2.
You got an idea for a shirt. You gave me an idea for a shirt. The show closer. They can make it with the logo, with the Roman Reigns logo, the show closer. I like it, because
dude, I think Hogan closed like 9. I don't know if we're going to count. I say we count the Yokozuna thing after the Bret Hart match. I think Hogan was 8 or 9. So Roman's clearly going to be one past him or at least tied with him after this year's WrestleMania. So that means it will be Rock and Roman will be even bigger when it happens, because it's going to put Reigns in a stratosphere. No one can get Taker's streak. Will anyone ever get Roman's show closing streak? It's crazy.
Yeah, he is the show closer.
He ain't done. Like, with his schedule, he could do this for so long.
If Shawn Michaels is the showstopper, you can have Roman Reigns as the show closer. Now, I'm curious if anybody has a rebuttal to this. Cody Doe sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Says, at this point, have Baron Corbin cost Roman Reigns the title so he could say he's forever a part of Roman's story. An unpopular opinion, the tag match is too much. Those are some strong takes there. Anybody have a response to that? Like Baron Corbin? What do you think about that?
Thank you for the money. Thank you for the money.
I mean, anything's possible in the world of wrestling, but not likely. Aaron, I can't believe. Go ahead.
I agree.
Go ahead, Mike.
I kind of agree with this tag, because I've never been a fan of tag team wrestling, and so I get why they're doing it, and I get the business aspect of it. So I'm not arguing that point where, hey, they shouldn't do it. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. I'm just not a huge fan of it. I mean, none of them are tag team wrestlers. And I think a lot of that is to save The Rock, because he's not in wrestling shape. Because did you see the way he was sweating during his promo? I mean, he had sweat coming out of his sweat on that promo he cut. So he's going to be gassed. So they got to protect him a little bit.
Mike, he just needs to lose some of the bulk, especially upper body cardio. And that if he's not gonna have a one-on-one match for quite a while, he's got plenty of time. So in a tag match, you got a lot of outs. So think about it. The Cody Crybabies really helped Rock. Right, because Rock would have probably did it. He would have found a way to do it if in 2 months if he had to. But the quality of the match might have took a hit. Which again, as long as the finish is good and the energy is good, that's all that matters. But this whole waiting thing has actually been a good thing. As much as I'm like people that might be sick that want to see Rock and Roman might not make it to see Rock and Roman. They're still going to enjoy what they see with all of those guys right now. Aaron, Big G, who's going?
Big G.
Here I am a year later, and I'm eating my own words. I'm eating crow saying Rock's never going to show up again, and here we are.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, Cody said he was being sarcastic about Baron Corbin. As far as the tag match goes, I like the tag match idea just because the first WrestleMania had a tag match in the main event. So I think it's kind of cool to come back with a tag match for the 40th WrestleMania. And some of the biggest matches of all time were tag matches, like when Hulk Hogan teamed up with Dennis Rodman against Karl Malone and DDP. Like that was it's still a spectacle. I know it's not, going to be a technical masterpiece or anything, but I mean, that did a huge pay-per-view number for WCW. So whether you like it or not, and again, Mike, it's business. It's a business move, and it protects The Rock.
I'm arguing the business move.
Yeah.
Dude, and Aaron, what's up with like Twitter? We have or X.com. There's like over 600 live viewers on there. I've never seen that. What happened, man? Everybody on Twitter tonight?
I guess so, because Facebook was down
earlier. Yeah, that's just crazy.
Yeah. So anybody watching this on Twitter, feel free to head over to nodq.com/YouTube, which will take you right to the YouTube page. We would appreciate a subscription, and you can come check out the live streams and join the chat rooms. We got lots of people in the chat, and some of the comments from Twitter are coming through. Charlie sent in some messages from Twitter, and Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. He says, Mike, your thoughts on the tag team, the Usos? Were you a big Usos fan?
Jimmy, not Jay.
Oh,
I'm not a
Jay.
He's not a yeeter.
I'm not a yeet guy. The open hand slap doesn't. His open hand slap is just. I can't buy it. And Jimmy at least plays. He's the clunky, dumb heel. Hey, I ran the play, Roman. I ran the play. I audibled. He's the flunky heel of the group. So I like Jimmy. I didn't like the Uso. I like Solo and Roman and Paul. And then we'll bring in Jacob Fatu. They'll look the other way on all his legal transgressions and bring in Jacob Fatu.
All right. Well, you got some strong takes, Mike. We appreciate it. And I think we're caught up here. So, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thank you for everybody on YouTube and especially Twitter. We had a big Twitter turnout tonight. So thank you for everybody on Twitter/X for tuning in. And great panel tonight, guys.
Yeah, and we'll go around and do our plugs. And, I got a little hot tonight, swore. X.com, that's where Virtue's Virtue. And I saw those numbers earlier, and it just set me off. So thank you. Thank you, because you guys did it. You inspired me. X.com @NoDQ_Virtue. I don't swear that often, but tonight I was feeling it. And sometimes you just get in the zone, and it's fun. Yeah, go back and watch it if you missed it. All right, let's do our plugs. Big G.
Yes. So we're 32 days away from WrestleMania. I'll talk to Walter more about it to set up a date and time for NoDQ meetup for WrestleMania. But here are my handles: TikTok @BigBallaG1988, X, Twitter NoDQ_BigBallaG, and Insta NoDQ_BigBallaG1988.
Thank you, Big G. Okay, Walter.
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk more about it, Big G. But yeah, on X it's @Walter Alex Cruz. The Cowfire Farms is the business Instagram. You can see on the U what that's about, and then subscribe to the Rage of Wrestling YouTube channel. This Saturday you got UFC 299. That's the next watch along, and the next live video I'm trying to coordinate with JJ and Noah. But I'm gonna the next top 10 because I'm gonna start pumping out the weekly top 10s. I'm gonna do the top 10 TNA debuts. So subscribe and turn that notification on for the more videos. And thanks, Aaron and Virtue, as always, for having me up here.
You're welcome. Sorry, I was not I just feel bad because I am nothing like JD from New York. Okay, just want to make that clear. All right, Mike, go ahead, do your plugs.
Yeah. first of all, thanks again for having me, guys. I have a blast on here. You guys are the experts. I'm the fan of the panel. Flights, football, and anything else. If you think Virtue swore a lot tonight, tune in to episode 221 on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And also go to our Facebook page, Flights, Football, and Anything Else. And like Cody Rhodes, I'm trying to finish my story. I'd like to get to 500 followers. So help me reach my story there, guys.
All right. I like the way you said that. Thank you, Mike. All right, Aaron.
All right. Just stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the latest wrestling news and rumors, fallout from AEW Revolution, and we got WrestleMania. The rumor mill is hot right now. There's a lot of talk, a lot of speculation, and NoDQ.com will keep you updated. And just like I said, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're watching on Twitter, NoDQ.com/YouTube will take you directly to the NoDQ YouTube page. So follow us and please spread the word. Say yes to NoDQ.
And I already did my Twitter thing. Go to NoDQ.com/merch where you can get shirts like the moderator shirt right there. And all the NoDQ merchandise is over there. Again, NoDQ.com/merch. But for Aaron, for Big G, for Mike, for Walter, for Colin, for Tito, for the entire NoDQ crew and galaxy, we love you, even when I get outrageous. This has been the NoDQ Review 276. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again next time.